And I'm pleased to have with us in our second segment a couple people we've been working together alongside for the last couple of years. And Stacey, you and I back to 1997. Yes. But Deborah Plummer, who is the Vice Chancellor of Diversity and Inclusion at UMass Medical School and UMass Memorial, and Stacey Luster, who's the Assistant Vice President of Human Resources, Payroll, Affirmative Action, and Equal Opportunity at Worcester State University. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Well, probably about 2 years ago, we were just talking offline about how long we started the conversation, and actually the two of you started the conversation about how the Chamber might play a role in making sure that Worcester, as we look to attract professionals and retain professionals, become a more welcoming community.
Absolutely. You know, I think we saw that we had mutual goals, you know, both of us as, you know, people strategy, human resource professionals who look at how diversity can help to drive excellence, and looking at the fact that Worcester County is 80%, 20%, you know, racial, ethnic minority, plus about 80% of its 2,300 businesses are small businesses. A lot of diversity there, and I was particularly wanting to tap into our senior and managers, leaders of ethnic and racial minority groups, so to support them.
You know, when you listen to some of the data and polling that are out there, interviews, you know, they talk about the millennials, and increasingly they want to work in places and in companies and in organizations that reflect kind of the growing diversity. Presidents and CEOs, some of them say that some of the biggest opportunities, yet challenges they have of creating that diverse workforce. So, Stacey, you talked about how for many years for people of color, and you would kind of be the welcoming wagon, and how it is important for communities to make a statement of who they are and where they're going, to kind of open that up and bring people together.
Yes, definitely. I think more and more employers are needing to tap into the diverse employment base in order to meet their economic development needs and their workforce needs. Universities and schools have been doing it for quite some time, so we've been involved in this work for quite some time, but it's remained a struggle, a challenge to make sure that when you hire one or two people that they feel welcome and reflected in the community. So working with you has really given us a great opportunity to make a real network for diverse professionals.
Well, you know, I think, you know, your outreach here, I think, was so impactful for a couple of reasons. Stacey, you know, your family, multiple generations here in the city. You've been involved in different levels of government, academia, you know, private sector. Deb, you came from, I believe, Cleveland. So there are some models out there of how organizations kind of create that inclusion and that kind of mentoring and networking that's so important to anyone's professional development.
Absolutely. You know, when I came, you know, I was eager to, the job was fabulous, and, you know, but I also wanted to get integrated into the community. And as you said, you know, Stacey and her husband were kind of the welcome wagon to that, and I was used to having professional organizations and groups, you know, that had networks, or that you could immediately go to for that professional and personal development and social networks. And so we knew that the Chamber was also interested in those similar goals. So it's just a perfect match to be able to say, listen, we can support you with models and looking at how we can make this happen. And so it's really been good.
And so this past year we put together a steering committee and launched in November, but maybe we can kind of talk about the criteria and where we're going and the programming that we're hoping to provide.
Exactly. You know, we're targeted towards senior and mid-level managers of both, you know, any racial, ethnic minority, to support bringing together for professional development and for networking. We looked at this. The steering committee has come up with a kind of a description of who we are, our mission, kind of a loose structure in the sense that we're going to meet 4 times a year. One would be a business meeting, which we'll have in February. Another one, which will be kind of a more of an event honoring the emerging professionals, like you talked about, the millennials and the Gen X folks who really do need to be you know, supported and pulled up. So we'll look at those who are in the community and partner with others. We'll also look at how can we tap into our business communities in terms of the CEOs, or having conversations with them about how diverse groups are a powerful force and how they help generate more ideas and innovation, and what are some of the challenges that you're having in your business around these areas. So we'll look to that. And then the other meeting, I'm trying to remember in terms of what the goal is, but we're trying to make it succinct but also powerful in what we do.
Right, and just even kind of getting people to meet one another and exchange a card. When we kind of did our kickoff in November, just a lot of energy around the room. Some of our small business owners being a part of this. Just being able to kind of meet and network is important as well.
It really is. I've been using the chamber in general, and this in particular, as a retention strategy for all employees, actually, not only for our minority employees, but it's wonderful to have an opportunity for minority employees to come together and realize that there really is a community in Worcester. Sometimes people feel a little isolated in their particular institutions or even in their departments within an institution.
Yeah, and that's important in terms of retain, the chamber, we have 3 words: recruit. We want to recruit new companies and businesses to the region, retain employees and grow employees, and then incubate new businesses. And in that regard, everybody needs to feel that they're welcome, that there are information that they can get, access to kind of various programs, and that's, I think, a key part of it as we go forward.
Absolutely. Mine was also somewhat selfish in the sense of, looking how do we recruit and retain, and how do we support our professionals that we're bringing into Worcester and to work at the hospital or the medical school. And so having this group and having them get connected with the chamber is great to have that structure right away.
Right.
And you both, you're kind of in both worlds, and Stacey, but when you look at kind of the employees, the biggest employers in the region, healthcare is the single biggest employer, and higher ed is number 2. So we want to make sure, if people are accessing the healthcare system, there needs to be people that they can talk to or relate to, or cultural competencies. Certainly, we talk about higher ed. We want, Worcester, 26,000 kids in the Worcester Public School, over 50% minority. We want to make them that when they go on campuses and colleges and universities, there are people that they can talk to, relate to, aspire to kind of follow. We saw that at Worcester State just the other day with the Young Teachers Program.
Yes, yes. Worcester State has launched a 5-point strategic plan towards a more inclusive community, and one element of that is diversity in hiring, and we achieved 30% minority hires for this last year, and it's our goal to retain them. And these individuals come with families, and so these chamber events really allow them to network beyond the actual employee, but with their families and across industries.
Yeah, and it just underscores the point that was validated. David Jordan from the Seven Hills, along with the UMass Dartmouth, did a study of kind of the Worcester businesses, and when you look at who's creating, who currently are and who are creating the new businesses, small business development in the city, overwhelmingly minority immigrant communities, and we got to remember, small companies, big companies start small.
Absolutely, and we're very interested in supplier diversity. Making sure that the supply chain does have diverse vendors, and so this is a perfect connection in terms of being able to have the network where we do support small businesses.
And that's a big point. I mean, if we know that when we can keep dollars being spent local, so if we can, for example, open up opportunities for our chamber member businesses to bid on work.
Absolutely.
It's local, those are contracts and dollars that stay local. Libas Bueno, who's been one of the members of our steering committee, talked about that, how through, kind of the chamber networking, he's been able to kind of grow his business. And he said, look, I'm Latino and I want to have a base in my Latino community, but if I'm going to grow and expand, I need to have relationships and contacts, and the chamber's allowed him to do both. So excited about the Diverse Professionals Roundtable and for your leadership and reaching out to the chamber and helping us be a part of it.
And yours as well, and the collaboration is fabulous. Thank you.